Welcome back. Only a few days left till International Women's Day on March 8th. And for the occasion, we continue with our Inspirational Women series with businesswoman and entrepreneur Christine Sfeir. On to you, Youmna.
Thanks, Noor. Yes, we have the pleasure to welcome CEO of Dunkin Donuts, Semsom and Green Falafel, Christine Sfeir. Now, she is Dunkin Donuts CEO in Lebanon. However, her story began in a coffee shop in Montreal, Quebec. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
So how did you go from a coffee shop to being the CEO of 3 leading restaurants today?
I was spending, I think, too much time in coffee shops when I was studying at Montreal, and this is how we got the idea of bringing back coffee shops to Lebanon. This was in 1996, so it's difficult to remember that we didn't have coffee shops at that time. And we wanted to have a place where the young generation, I was 22 at that time, so me and my friend to hang out and be able to spend time there. So this is how Dunkin Donuts started.
So you were 22 when you decided to move back from Montreal and start Dunkin Donuts and get the franchise and begin it in Lebanon.
Yes.
Was it difficult for you to do that?
It was, of course it was difficult, but when you're 22 you don't think that it might not work, or you don't think that you might not succeed, so you just do it, and it worked. But I think the older we get, the more we ask questions, the more we do study, and less impulsive, if you want, we become as entrepreneurs.
We're more risk takers when we're younger.
Yes, 100%.
Lebanon has gone through so many challenges, and today, after 17 years, you basically are still open and you're still running through so much turmoil. How did you keep your businesses afloat?
This is the biggest challenge of being in Lebanon. Actually, we have 2 challenges. The first one is this instability and this ongoing things happening. The second is the size of the market that is relatively small. So as much as you want to grow, you get to the point where you cannot grow anymore. So either you start looking at other restaurants, like in our case, Semsom and Green Falafel, or you start looking at other markets, like also in our case, we're in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, and soon in Iraq and UAE as well. So you start expanding geographically and expanding in terms of brands.
When people come up to you and they say, okay, give us some advice, why did you get into food to start with?
I love eating.
Okay.
I think this is a good enough
I think a lot of people do.
Yes, and so I love the coffee, and we're trying to go into products that I personally like. So this is how we're actually expanding and going into new ventures.
I was living in New York City 2 years ago, and I moved back here. And one of the many questions I get is, why did you move back? So when people come up to you and they say, well, there are no opportunities here, and I don't want to move back. Although it's my country and I love it, I don't want to move back. What advice do you give them as somebody who has a successful story?
Okay, it's a difficult market, so let's make sure we're not giving false hopes. It's a very challenging market, but Lebanon has different advantages. First, it pushes you to look at other opportunities. For me, the 2006 war was the most difficult on a personal level, obviously, but also on a business level. But on the other hand, it pushed most of us to look at other markets as other countries as our markets, regionally, and not only to stop at Lebanese borders. Second, we have very talented people, so I'm very blessed to be working with an amazing team, and it's thanks to them that we can really operate in Lebanon and in other neighboring countries as well. So it does have advantages as well.
You are also married, and you're a mother of 2 girls.
Yes, that are watching.
That are watching here today. And another question that women often get is, how do you balance being a full-time professional business entrepreneur and a mother at the same time?
This is also very challenging, obviously, but as I said, I'm surrounded with amazing people at work, with an amazing team that are really doing the work, and at home I have an amazing mom and an amazing husband, and these are the 2 pillars, if you want, of my family life that help me be able to travel so often and to be away from home at the same time.
Has your husband always been supportive of the fact?
Yes, 100% from the start, and I think this is a characteristic that is very important to look for in a future husband.
I know, because when we were talking previously, and I wanted the story to go on air, I know that you also lecture at universities. So you give lectures about, is it entrepreneurship
Yes,
and
mainly,
restaurants in general?
yeah.
And tell me the story that you told me when we were having coffee at Dunkin Donuts.
It's every time I do a lot of lectures at almost all universities, and every time there's always someone who tells me that her fiancé doesn't want her to work, even though she really wants to do whatever she wants to do. And my response is always change fiancé, because if he doesn't want you to do what your dream is, then there's a problem. You need to have the full support and the full backup on both sides. I'm fully supportive of my husband's whatever he wants to do, and he is fully supporting me as well. But as long as this is what you want to do, some people just don't want to work, and this is their choice, and this is amazing as well. But if you choose to have a career, you need to have the proper support at home.
But it's so difficult to be a full-time career woman and a full-time mother and a full-time wife, etc.
You become an expert in time management. You know, I even have on my schedule dates with my husband. I have on my schedule time for my kids. So I'm trying to juggle between all of them, and so far so good.
This is why I'm hoping people watch, because a lot of people end up in a rut because it's hard to balance both, or they choose both. If somebody tells you, I can't have both, what's your answer to them?
You can if you want. It's a lot of hard work, but you really need to be passionate about what you do, because it takes a lot of time, and you need to love it. I love the restaurant business, and I think this is why we're successful at it. And I have amazing support at work and at home, and this makes it much easier. But I'm a professional time management person, that's for sure.
What is the best advice you've given your girls growing up?
To do whatever they want to do, to be whoever they want to be. You know, not to have glass ceiling, not to have, I don't have limits. If they want to become painters or whatever they want to, as long as it's something that they really want to and they're passionate about, just be whoever you want to be. This is the best advice, I think.
So the advice of Ms. Christine Sfeir, and what we're going to take away from this today, is follow your heart, follow your dream, have a good support system. And if your fiance does not support you, well, change your fiance. What do you think, Noor? Back to you. Thank you for being with us, Christine.
Thank you.